First, there's a new report called Basic Digital Skills for Adults in the Nordic countries, presented by Agnetha Kronqvist, who's the National Coordinator for the Nordic Network for Adult Learning, Director of Education at the Swedish National Agency for Education, and then practical examples from Mika Sihvonen from Tampere University in Finland about practical examples on skills, digital sort of new models to enhance digital skills that have been developed by projects in the Taito-Programme. But we'll start with Agnetha's presentation, so please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for being invited into this seminar. As Marion said, this Network for Basic Skills for Adults is one of 10 networks within the NVL, and we are focusing on follow-up the work on basic skills in the Nordic countries based on the results of PIAC, which I think most of you are familiar with the program. And the network consists of Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and Norway. And the next one, please. And the next one. So why did we decide to write this report? Well, despite the fact that the Nordic countries have made progress in the area of basic skills, higher than an international average actually, there is a significant number of adults still lacking basic skills, including basic digital skills, which is so important in order to take part in the society, in working life and in private life as well. Also, one of the most prioritized goals in the EU agenda is to emphasize the importance of increasing the number of participants in adult learning and the importance of using ICT tools also. So based on that, the network wanted to make an overview on the situation in the Nordic countries to see what can be done at the Nordic level, what is currently in place, and what may be needed in the future. And in the report, there are learning examples from all countries to show what has been done. And based on these national descriptions, the experts in the network set up a SWOT-analysis about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this to have a that's to have a picture on what works well today and what is needed to be improved in the coming years. And from this analysis, some recommendations became visible and very clear. So the most important to find out was that how can challenges be turned into opportunities? So next slide, please. There are learning examples in all countries which already provides opportunities to acquire the basic skills needed. And these are some learning examples from the report. Some are focusing on everyday digital skills. Some are focusing on security and democracy. Some are focusing on guidance, for instance, outreach activities. And some are focusing on specific target groups, for instance, people with special needs. And some are focusing on digital competence for teachers. So there are learning examples in all countries, but there is room for improvements and to expand these initiatives as well. So next slide, please. If we have a quick look at the SWOT analysis that the network created, to mention some strengths. All countries are highly digitalized, and as I just mentioned, there are upskilling activities in all countries. One weakness, there are difficulties in reaching and motivating groups with weak digital skills, as they usually don't participate in education or in working life. And there are some threats as well. The high digitalization, which also is a strength, can lead to digital exclusion, and as cybersecurity is becoming more and more sophisticated, there is a risk that people are afraid of using digital tools. So there are some challenges anyhow, and I leave the opportunities for a minute. Next slide, please. All countries have different kind of challenges, but these challenges are common for all countries. It is hard to reach the target groups. Those with low skills are usually not participating in work or education, as I said. Sometimes they're not aware of that they need basic digital skills. There is a need to find smart, therefore, there is a need to find smart and new ways to find and motivate groups with weak digital skills. There are still few official qualification requirements for adult education staff, especially in terms of digital competencies. And there is a need to increase critical thinking skills for the individual safety. So, how can challenges be turned into opportunities then, if we can choose? Yes. Well, if tools will be easier to use and are more user-friendly, that would ensure that the needs of users are taken into account. Digital technologies can offer opportunities that may lead to better democratic processes if digital tools and services are used to extend community engagement. There is a need to increase upscaling opportunities. There are national initiatives, but as I showed you, but they could be more systematic across the countries. Here we can learn a lot from each other, of course, between the countries. And an interaction between academics and researchers should also contribute to better resources for teachers and adult learning. So, NVL has also prepared a policy brief with 6 recommendations from this report. And something about those recommendations. 1, increase the participation of low-skilled adults in basic digital skills learning. And this can be achieved by focusing on 1, good guidance systems and outreach measures, and flexible learning pathways and tailored initiatives. 2, renew all efforts to bridge the digital divide and promote digital inclusion. And this is crucial to increase the basic digital skills of the population in order to prevent gaps in society. And this is also strongly linked to the global goals of inclusion. 3, increase efforts to create and maintain a lifelong learning system. National lifelong learning systems must increase their flexibility to be able to adapt quickly to digital changes and to be able to provide adequate training for each individual. 4, promote the development of education technologies for adults. Governments should further explore and support the development of education technologies and examine how they can be adapted to different life situations, learning strategies, and needs. And 5, enhance the digital competence of teachers in adult education and training. National policymakers must require teachers to make use of training opportunities so they are able to teach citizens at all levels. And the last one, enhance national measures dealing with cybersecurity. National systems need to be created to ensure that the public has access to reliable information. Extremely important in this corona situation. If anything, the corona crisis shows the need for basic digital skills. It hasn't been easy for everyone, this. So special measures should therefore be taken to reach these most vulnerable groups. And the next step for the network is to disseminate this report and the policy brief, of course, to spread the learning examples, but also make the policy makers look into the opportunities and the recommendations. And the next topic to focus on will be basic mathematics skills and the significance those skills have in private life and in the working life. So this was a short sight into this report. And before I hand over to Mika, if anyone have more interest in the report or have further questions about our work in the network, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.
So thank you, Agnetha. Mika Sihvonen is up next, and please, you can type your questions in the chat room anytime, but we will take them up after the second presentation in this workshop is complete. So completed or finished. So please ask.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you. So my name is Mika Sihvonen. I work here in Tampere University and also in coordinating project Taikoja, which is a coordinating project for a Taito-Programme. And well, I will discuss the topic maybe later in my slides, but first I will present the program, and then I will bring up some interesting cases, how this digital skills is can be organized in training. And well, next slide, please. That program is our nationwide program, which is led by Ministry of Education and Culture in Finland, and it relates heavily on PIAC report 2012, and the main message for us was that even though Finland has the significant high level of skills in all those three parts, literacy, numeracy, and digital skills, the relative number of weak people with weak skills was significant, and that's how the Taito-Programme was built. And well, we had actually, it's very delightful to hear Agnetha's words about the report. We had a meeting with Agnetha last week, and I noticed that we had a lot of similar things and similar ideas of the situation in both countries, in Finland and Sweden, even though we work independently here. But I will probably we discuss that later. Next slide, please. So we have this project network which has this 25. The total amount of the project is 25, but not only, but there are 16 active at the moment. And it's, as I said, it's nationwide, and the focus, it's focusing on working age adults, 16 to 65. But there are, actually this is from the PIAC results, there are three groups that are has strong tendency to have these weak skills. So under 25 years old school dropouts and recent immigrants, and the adults who are over 60 years old. So on those groups we have significant amount of people who have weak skills. but I will underline that. I want to underline that this whole program is covering every groups in working age adults. And the project operates on several fields. Lots of projects operates in adult education and vocational schools, but also schools who offer special need education. And then we have a very important part is non-governmental organization, third sector actually. And if I remember correctly, my first case is about the third sector organization, please. So I have this case number 1 project called Impromptu, and that is as Agnetha said in previous presentation, that it's very hard to reach out to people who are not in schooling system or any kind of system. And I think this is a brilliant idea that we have chance to reach out unemployed people with associations. And the Impromptu project is working closely with association of unemployed, and that's how they can reach the people and also build a network, nationwide network around the association. So this is very, very interesting type of build a project. Then next slide, please. Yes, the second case here is a project called Digital Route to Employment. It is my own translation, so forgive me if there are people from that project listening. But now this is a good example of tutor and peer learning. So the focus group here is mainly the recent, not the recent immigrants, but immigrant people with immigrant background, and they had this project is ended now, but they had very interesting two-folded idea. That first they ask people to participate to the training, and then they ask people not so the smaller amount of people to participate to training to trainers, and that's how they could build this kind of tutor setting, which is very important, because I think that in many cases, especially in with the recent immigrants, there are good examples how you can build trust and communicate easier when you have tutors and peers who have similar background that you yourself. And then the next slide, please. My third and last case is working life ICT skills in business. So this project also already ended, but it operates in a field of trading businesses, so commercial businesses, and they also reach the people who were unemployed at that moment. Okay, yes, Marion, I saw your message. So this project reached the project they reached the focus group by workers unions. So they also have the workers from the businesses, but unemployed people from the workers unions, and I think that was very good idea also. But they had this 4-step idea. To first, the participant made a test, which was actually very good web-based testing, where they can simulate the desktop computer, all the cases like drag and drop procedures and everything like that. And then they built a training based on the results of the testing. And after that, they checked the results by survey and interviews. So that was very complete, very good. But also the workload was big because the test itself was quite big work to build. And then the next slide, probably we skip this slide now. We can come back later, and let's take directly the last one. Yes, this is my thoughts, food for thought, the title said. And what I said in the beginning of my presentation, I would like to share some ideas and that overall picture that I have from the whole situation, not only with the digital skills, but the other skills too. Because first of all, I think that peer and tutor activities are very effective and very good way to reach the people and communicate with the people, and also like stronger make stronger commitments with the people who are participating these trainings. And then another very important thing is how we can unite the skills which are needed in work life and education to the skills what is needed in everyday life. And that is some kind of problematic boundary, I think, because if you go to the training, what happens after the training is over? How you can maintain your skills, and how do you even think that it's like do you even think that it's necessary? Is there any use to maintain your skills? That is important question also. And then reaching target groups, encouraging them to participate to the trainings. One thing that we put a lot of effort in coordinating project is productization, to talk with the project network how they can express the project pilots and training systems very clearly, how much it's cost, how much it's what are the results, how the participants will be encouraged and everything like that. And my last thing here is to underline and bring up the next background skill, which is adaptive problem solving. And that is something that it is good they take into consideration, because I have noticed that it's very hard to speak literacy or numeracy skills alone without saying anything about digital skills. If you think about any kind of process or activity in your work life, it's very hard to think writing or reading without some kind of digital activity, like sending email attachments or making advanced information searching from the internet. So that is very good idea from PIAC that they are considering this as future skill, adaptive problem solving. Right, this was my presentation. Thanks for listening and thanks for having me. And if we have time, I would like to ask this question from the people around, who are listening, and you can send your letter to chat what you think about this. So in your opinion, this is opinion, it's you don't have to have any sources for this. What is the most important of following premises? You can only select one when developing the basic skills for adults. So, do the people in training must have a similar background? Letter A. Letter B. Offer adults learning resources which is related to their everyday life, or motivate adults to attend the training by showing that it leads to better life, or understanding that ICT skills are key to other basic skills in modern society. I can see that the C is very popular, but there is also another alternatives, and I would say that there is no right answer. They are all right answers actually, but we need something where to start, I think. But thank you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for answering.
Thank you, Mika. I have been actually I've been counting. so at the moment, I think B has got at least 13 people have mentioned B, so that was relating the learning content to your everyday life. Almost as many people, 12, mentioned C. And then there are 3 people mentioned D, and there was 1 E, which was to do with self-esteem. So actually, I think that my organization coordinated the peer-led digital part of work, and we did notice that it was, as an approach, really good. And we did a lot of B because it was related to real working life. We asked employers about very sort of specific things. What do you think that people actually need to be able to do specifically at work to succeed with in a digital environment? So that was then the starting point for the whole learning. So we did a bit of combination of A and B and found it to be quite useful. And from Hanna, thank you, Agnetha and Mika. More as a comment, the question how to reach adults with low digital skills seems to be an essential one. How do we reach the gatekeepers and know to different groups of people? And this part takes a lot of time and effort in various projects. And Hanna, of course, coordinates coordinates one of the projects that was mentioned in this presentation, so she might have some good tips on how to do it as well. And there are some more answers coming in. Yes,
Marian, can I comment on that, Hanna's comment? Yes, well, now as we are stuck in this COVID-19 situation, it's somehow I think that it will bring up more talents that people with weak digital skills have, because now it's more essential to have digital skills to communicate and be part of the society. So I think that, you know, this is not the answer to Hanna, but I think the problems, the challenges will accumulate in this kind of situations. That's my opinion.
And I agree. I mean, this situation, it was very clear that this was very, very hard for some people that didn't have the right information, that the information about this extreme situation. And that's very sad, because most in Sweden, as particularly, we have had new people that didn't understand actually what was happening. So it's that was a very big problem, this Corona crisis for them. And I also agree with Johannes that motivate adults to the attend training by showing that better skills lead to better life. I think this, combined with the resources that relates to their everyday life, I think that could be a solution. But it's hard, as someone said, as also. So it's hard to find them and reach them as well.
There's an interesting question about, well, digital skills are needed more and more, and digital skills they create a high demand on an individual's reading and writing skills. Would you advocate text-to-speech and speech-to-text possibilities in learning as well?
You mean like automatic systems that translate the text to speech, or
probably.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, when you are living in this Finnish-speaking world, it's something that it's beyond imagination. Still, we don't have a solid system for that. At least I don't know if we have, but well. But yes, I can see that. Yes, that was what it's meant. But well, yes, I mean, one of the main problem with the digital skills, I would say, rather than it's more like digital. How should I put it? It's a digital encourage to use these new facilities and new technologies and new free web-based services. When you don't have that courage, even if you would understand the system, how its system works, but if you don't have the courage to just put your fingers on the keyboard, nothing happens. And that is probably more important challenge to tackle than the skill itself. But of course we can talk about skills, of course, but it's, I think that when you start to when you have the this kind of encourage in yourself that you try and try new solution and new applications, then it's easy. Then the learning will happen automatically, and that's very interesting.
An additional comment that there are solid systems in both Finnish and Swedish. And from Hanna, a further comment on reaching people, possible means from postcards, local newspapers, libraries, info boards, email messages, posters, and so on. So when you do outreach, many traditional means are still the best solutions. And then there's a comment from Lea. Good point on digital courage. Should be supported with knowledge about cybersecurity. And from Datero, I think reading skills should be a topic when we meet people with low digital skills because the entire system builds on written language.
That's true. I agree.